With Lululemon, the real gift happens when they're living in it. When you give them the coziest scuba matching set, the real gift is this. And this. And this. This holiday, Lululemon makes it easy to give a gift that goes beyond. Open the moment. Shop now at Lululemon.com.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Forget the frustration of picking commerce platforms when you switch your business to Shopify, the global commerce platform that supercharges your selling wherever you sell. With Shopify, you'll harness the same intuitive features, trusted apps, and powerful analytics used by the world's leading brands. Sign up today for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/tech, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/tech.
All right. Welcome back to the Misfit Nation. Last episode, we got to hear from Andreen Lowe about being a writer and a stand-up comedian. She left us with great advice on doing both. Thank you for being on, and we look forward to hearing about her next novels in the future. In this episode, Misfit Raymond Bird got us linked up with Marine Corps veteran, who is on a great journey and already has a great story. He is Allen Simmons. So without further ado, let's get Allen Simmons on here. All right, welcome to the Misfit Nation. Today we have the honor of having Semper Fi alumnus, former Marine, Mr. Allen Simmons. How are you, Allen?
Hoorah. I'm good.
Good?
Good? I'm good, brother. I appreciate you having me on your show, man.
I've been looking forward to this since Raymond told me about you. I think when I first did my interview with him, he was pumped to have me and you connect, and I think I understand why now after reading your website and seeing all the things you've been doing and where I believe your trajectory is taking you. This is going to be a pretty good talk right here.
Yes, sir. I'm excited, man. I'm glad this connection happened. You know, it's awesome when networking makes it work.
Yes. And Raymond's a good part of my network. He's a part of my family. So he's a good guy.
Yeah.
So why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about your story, like from as far back as you want to go through your time in the Corps to where you are now.
Okay, awesome. I love this part. So as he said, I'm Allen Simmons. I'm from Summerville, South Carolina, a town near Charleston, South Carolina. And I joined the Marine Corps out of high school in 2007. Interesting story that I love to share with people because, you know, it's not the traditional, I joined because, you know, of 9/11. I joined because my dad, you know, even though my dad was in the Army. But I joined the Marine Corps because I was supposedly becoming a father out of high school. Yeah. So, you know, I was dating this young lady who was pregnant, and for sure she was pregnant, and my buddies were going in the Marine Corps. So my dad was like, well, what are you going to do? Can't go to college. Like, what are you going to do? And so I ended up going to Marine Corps and knew nothing about the military, never went to a drill, knew nothing about marching. Like it was a complete, you know, culture shock, you know? And when I got to Paris Island, man, I was going through hell, like, because I was, like I said, I wasn't used to the whole military lifestyle or even ROTC. So someone yelling at me, you know, I wasn't ready for that yet, you know. So they treated me like crap because they were like, Simmons, scream, 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 right? And I'm over here like, aye, sir. You know, like, open your mouth, aye, sir, right? I'm just being like a really jerk, right? And so like boot camp, man, I got broken in pretty good, and you know, here I am transformed into this new man, you know, and you know, I'm about to get to my graduation, and I get a letter in the mail, and it's from one of my buddies from my football team in high school. I went to Somerville High School, and it was like, hey, Allen, man, I'm sorry to have to tell you this, but you know, you're not the dad. I was like, he just named off a guy we played football with, and like everybody knew about it, and I didn't know about it.
Oh wow.
Right. So here I am about to graduate boot camp, and I'm just like, a month ago I was telling my parents to pick me up. I was ready to go, to now I have this sense of pride, and now I have the news of my life, for the reason why I was there, so it went from that to, me going after boot camp to go try to burn down their house. I didn't really try, but I wanted to, I wanted to burn down the whole house, but I didn't do it. And, so I get my first duty station. I'm going to Okinawa, Japan. Japan, I had the time of my life, got in a lot of trouble, did a lot of drinking, as people do. Military members, when we're young, we go out there, we spend a lot of money on drinks. And then we break a couple of rules here and there, like curfew, and
Especially
so especially out there, yeah. So it's especially out there, So it was a great experience, I would say. Like Okinawa taught me a lot about being a Marine with pride and PT and camaraderie, and leadership. I was meritoriously promoted in Okinawa to corporal, from E3 Lance Corporal to corporal on our board. So like that was one of my biggest accomplishments. And right there, I would say that was the first time I really started to believe in myself, because I knew other Marines who were better than me. Like they knew more about the Marine Corps, they knew more about drill, they knew more about everything. And it was like I was this guy that came into a whole nother society that I wasn't used to. But when I won that board, man, it gave me a sense of pride, because I went up against a lot of like sharp Marines. And after winning that board, I have another life-altering moment where they're like, hey, Simmons or Von Valet, one of you guys have to go to Iraq. We need an E4. So I get promoted.
Oh, wow.
Right. I get promoted, and my promotion calls for me to do something, and he had just got married. So I was like, okay, I'll go. I'm not married. I don't have any kids. So I'll go. So I ended up going on an individual augment to Baghdad, out of MacDill Air Force Base. That was the coolest part about this whole thing, was that I got to go to from Japan to Florida, Tampa, Florida, for MacDill Air Force Base, and I got stuck there for a month and a half, right?
Oh,
and yeah, bro, they gave me like I was on the military charge card, and like I was eating out all the time. I had the airmen had came on base, and they didn't have enough room for me to stay there in the barracks. They put me in an apartment out in town and gave me a Dodge Charger, bro. I was living the dream.
Charge.
Right. So it was awesome. And so like it went from that, to me going out. So they're sending me to Iraq, and like I said, I was an individual augmentee, so I was by myself, until I got there to my unit in Baghdad. And that's where I was an electrician in the Marine Corps. So when I went to Baghdad, I was doing stuff that I can't really talk about, but it was more so like intel, and it was really cool finding out the movements of the Taliban, and being able to tell our route clearance team where things were, on that form. But Iraq gave me a different experience. I was attached to the Army, the Air Force, the Navy, the Marine Corps. It was a joint operation. They had the French. They had all the Italian guys. They were cooking pizza in a brick oven type thing. It was really cool. We were getting IDF attacks, indirect fire attacks, like here and there. But that was about it. Like I wasn't on the ground fighting, but I was behind the scene helping our people out that were out there fighting. And then I was also briefing like generals and like majors, and like it was pretty cool. Like I was in a position that I never would have thought I would have been in. So from there, do you need me to take a pause or keep going? You told me to go start from.
You're good right now. You're doing good.
Okay. All right, cool. So I'm trying to make it entertaining while I do it. But yeah. So from Iraq, man, I go back to Japan. I'm checking out, and I go to Camp Pendleton, California, and here I am in California now. South Carolina boy from the country with dirt roads and pickup trucks, and uh, sipping on some Kool-Aid and going to the candy store. That little boy is now in California, and I'm in my first time checking in, bro. Like I left my uniform in Japan. I left my alphas in Japan. So right, like that's a big push right there. Like, so here I am checking in, this new guy, nobody knows me, and I show up without my alphas. And so now I'm a dirtbag automatically. And I was like, somebody actually stole my uniform from my war locker before I left. It was crazy. And but I looked like a dirtbag when I checked in. And my boy, he's my boy now, but he was my lead corporal when I got there. He actually became a sergeant, but he was like, here's my uniform. He was bigger than me, so I'm looking really sloppy wearing this guy's uniform. And but we became best friends after that. So here I am in California, living the dream, going to Pacific Beach, San Diego gas lamp district, going to LA, going to Hollywood Boulevard, like I'm just like living a dream. And then next thing you know, it's like, Simmons, we need you to go to EOD. You're going to Afghanistan. And EOD is Explosive Ordnance Disposal Company. So I'm like, dude, I'm an electrician. Like, what do you guys not get, right? So I get attached to EOD, man, and it was a culture shock once again, because these guys are, they're going to Afghanistan and they're defusing IEDs, and people have lost limbs and people have died, and I'm over here with these guys about to deploy, and I'm their support guy, aka what, like so I ain't even gotta say it, but I'm their support guy. And so they're not seeing me as like, okay, equal. I know I'm a Marine, but like they're just like, all right, whatever, get these papers, push these papers type stuff, right? They didn't really understand my value until we got to Afghanistan and we had a generator and we needed lights and AC. Like they didn't understand it then, right? So here I am attached to EOD, and like, there's a bunch of guys that passed away on the initial push that they did before I got there. The guys that we were going to replace, a lot of guys were coming back in boxes, bro. And I was scared for my life at this point in time. I was like, all right, this is really real. Like Afghanistan, like this isn't just sitting in a joint operations center right now, And so the night before, I'm gonna start here with Afghanistan. The night before I leave California, I'm turning up. I'm like, my birthday's coming up. I'm gonna be overseas for my birthday. I'm like getting drunk, plastered, and so we had to be at the armory to pick up our weapons at like 0:30 in the morning, which is like 4:00. And I wake up and I'm in San Diego, like 35-40 minutes from base, and I wake up and the sun's out. Right, so I'm like, dang, like the sun's out. I got messages on my phone, missed call, Simmons with her, blip, 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 like just a lot of foul stuff. And you're screwed, NJP, da 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 da, like it's all happening to you, So I'm freaking out, and so like the girl I was talking to at the time, she ends up driving me to base, and I'm just like flipping out on her, like, you freaking suck, da 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 da, you got me late. I told you to wake me up, and so I get to base, man, and I get to the armory. You're not supposed to bring your weapon in a vehicle and all that stuff. So I'm over here doing stuff that I'm not supposed to do. I go get my bags. Luckily, I had them packed already, and I get to the compound, EOD compound, and I'm just like shaking in my boots, man. And like, I'm just like, all right, they're about to court martial me, like, because I didn't know if they had left already or not. Like, I'm just getting there, like, wondering if it's just the families that are still hanging out, sending them their family members off. So I get there, and luckily they were still there. And my master gunnery sergeant, he comes out there, and the colonel's waiting inside, and like I'm just the gunnery sergeant had it out for me from day one. Like he hated me. Like he didn't like that. I wasn't afraid of him, but he didn't like that. So he was ready, itching I already had page 11s from him. They wrote me up a couple of times, on some miscellaneous stupid stuff just to like put something bad on my name. And so this time, man, they're like, I'm in the office standing there at the desk at attention, bro. And they're like, Simmons, you're screwed. Like, we're about to court martial you. This is like, you're about to miss a move. Like, you're almost AWOL. Like, so like, we're trying to figure out what we're going to do. And I'm just like, man, I'm here. I'm right here. Like, I'm not AWOL. I wasn't intentionally trying to miss the move. I just partied too much. That's all, and they ended up like talking to me for about an hour before we left and ended up just giving me a page 11 and, which is, a slap on the wrist / makes you look bad, So we get all the way I think we went to Kuwait first or something. And then we go to Afghanistan and we're at Leatherneck at this point in time, the green zone, and they're telling all the support personnel where they're going. And they're like, so-and-so Johnson, you're here, Leatherneck, so-and-so, so-and-so. And like, they're naming off where people are going. And then they get to me and they're like, Simmons, you're going to Marjah. I was like, where the hell is Marjah? Like, and I'm Marjah, Afghanistan. That's like Taliban Central. Like they live outside the wire type stuff, So I get attached to a couple of guys that go out there. And I got treated like crap the first couple of weeks. I'd say the first month I got treated like crap because I was late. So everybody, how people are, they'll give you hell, make you do stupid stuff, until something comes up like, oh, we need heat or we need lights, So, but the cool part after all the bull crap, man, I met Robin Williams and Lance Armstrong out there, and they came out to do a little wellness check, on us and stuff. And I got to walk them through the IED course because another cool part about these deployments was I did stuff outside of my job. So I was actually in charge. I assisted with the IED lane. So whenever people would come in country, I would take them through the lane and I'd be in the tower and I'd blow up stuff if they stood next to an IED, or something. Like it was just a test trial to get them used to the way things look, like disturbed earth or bottles on the side of the road or, different things to teach them how to maneuver in the landscape. So I learned a lot from that. And fast forward, there's a day where somebody comes in the tent in the evening and they're like, hey, Simmons, we're going on a patrol tomorrow. Do you want to go? I'm like, yeah, I'll go on a patrol. Like, just walk around, see the area. And I had already been outside the wire a lot of times. Like we weren't in the green zone in Marjah. This was already red zone type stuff, And so when we went on convoys to different places, like we hit IEDs, we got shot at, in our 7-ton. But like it was never like an on foot type thing, right? We were always in a truck. And here, this next morning in Marjah, I wake up, we get out there to the tent, the captain's debriefing, he's briefing everyone. And they're like, all right, this is what we're doing, a presence patrol. We just want to let them know that we're here, that we mean good, da-da-da-da. It's like, okay, cool. They start going over the formation. Rich, man, they start going over the formation and they're like, you would be, all right, so we were in a V formation, if you can imagine a V, but pointed upward, right? Like upside down V, right? So inverted V. And they're like, Simmons, you're going to be here, which is in the top right of the V formation. So I was in the front on the right side, and I instantly said, you guys got to be kidding me. Like, first of all, I'm an electrician, and then second of all, this is my first foot patrol. And third of all, I'm Black. You guys know Black people die first in the movies. Like I said that. They start laughing. Everybody's just laughing. I'm over here like about to crap my pants. Like, seriously, guys, you don't understand. So so like Black people die first in the movies. You all know this. Like, why do I have to go first? So they're like, all right, haha, very funny, Simmons, get up front, right? So so here I am. We're going out of the wire, and we're walking. It's like moon dust. I described the dust, the sand. It was like moon dust, like you just sank right through it, right? And here I am with my IED lane, knowledge. I'm looking at the disturbed earth, looking at everything looks like a dang IED, pretty much. Everything looks like it could be a pressure plate or a bottle, could be something, So I'm just like looking at it, and we cross this canal. There's like a 2 feet wide little bridge that we went over, and we crossed this little thing, this beam, and we get to a house, and we're talking to the locals there. We're like, hey, we mean good, da da da. The interpreter's talking to them, and I see this guy in the back. He's by the water well, and he's like peeking up, and I was like, yo, I see somebody back there. He's like peeking up. He's on the phone. Like, I think he's talking to somebody. They tell me, Simmons, chill out. Like, he's probably just on the phone. He probably just scared, whatever, right? They didn't take it seriously. I'm like, no, this dude looks like he's out. He's looking out for something, right? And so next thing you know, we get a couple of guys. They ride by on their moped. It was like 3 dudes on one moped, and they're, oh, inshallah, they're waving at us and stuff. We're like, oh, hey. So they disappear, and we start continuing down our patrol. We're walking down, and like we're in an open area, like, it's a lot of like fields and dirt path, pretty much. It was almost, we call it the rat trail, because it was just like some trees lined up on the side, almost like going through an alley, but in the desert.
Right.
So I'm walking, and I'm going over these like little clumps of garden type hills, like I'm walking. And next thing you know, this kid comes out. He's like, blah, 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 blah. And I don't know, the interpreter said, he said that the Taliban just came and put an IED in the road. I'm like, oh God, here we go. Right. So he said the little kid was like, the Taliban came out there and told everybody to go in the house, that there's an IED in the road. And so here we go. My sergeant, he was in the middle of the V formation on the road, using the metal detector, and here I am in the front on the right side, like just looking. And I get to this intersection, and this is like when I guess God becomes real to me, because I literally heard a voice, Richard. I heard a voice say, look by your foot. Like, oh, wow. Out of nowhere, right? Look by your foot. So I look by my foot, and there's a haystack right by my right foot. And so I'm like, okay. And the voice was like, lift it.
Gotcha now.
All right, cool. I don't know what happened, but it was I lift up the haystack, and it was a propane tank, 12 9-volt batteries, a cell phone strapped on top of it with wires, right? So here's a bomb, an IED. I found it right by my foot. And, I'm like a deer in the headlights at this time. And I'm like, IED, and so everybody, they do a 360, like just circling around, spreading out. I'm like, I can't move because there could be secondary or tertiary bomb, pressure plates and stuff like that out here. So I'm standing next to this IED, and my sergeant, he comes, he had the radio jammer, Thorpack. He brings that over, and he puts it by the IED. And I'll pause here and say, like, luckily I was within the radius of the radio jammer, because like whoever was right there was trying to call it, right? And so we do this like 360. I get in this canal, and next to the other point guy, he was on the left side of the formation, and he's like looking at me. We're talking. He's like, Simmons, you okay? You okay? I was like, I don't know. I'm just like out of it pretty much, and he's like, all right, Simmons, we got to go clear this house over here. And I was like, you got to be in me. Like, are you serious? You not just saw, he's infantry. I'm an electrician. I'm shell shocked already. He's like, we got to clear this house out. So he pops smoke in the road. We run across, and we get into this little field, and there's like 6 feet tall weed plants, bushes, like just in the, like they're right there, right? Marijuana bushes and stuff. And so we're going through that. We get to the house, kick in the door, see this guy and his on the ground playing with some clay, some weird stuff. I don't know what they were doing. Maybe that's the pastime thing or something, but they were playing in clay on the floor. And we're like, stay here. We go outside. we get by this brick wall next to this guy's house. And I wouldn't say brick, it's clay wall near this guy's house. And there's an open field in front of us. Imagine like a football field. And all the way at the end of the 100 yards, you see like trees lined up. So the tree line right there. And then on the left side, there's two other clay houses with a white van in front of it and children running to the houses. Like they're running, like something's about to happen. And like we see people in the van. And so here we are, we're panicking. And then we see a guy. He's running from where the IED was. He's running in the other direction towards the trees. And he has a blue vest on. He has a radio or trigger device in his hand or something. But he's running. And so I put him on my scope. And my buddy Hartman, he's calling into command, rules of engagement. And he calls into command. He's like, command, possible Taliban, wearing a blue vest, trigger device in his hand. Can we engage? Command calls back. Is he carrying a weapon? Not sure. He has a vest on and a device in his hand. Can we engage? But is he carrying a weapon? Like, not sure. Like, there's like, don't engage, right? So they say don't engage. And I'm like, what the? Like, this is the first time I ever got to experience the whole rules of engagement in real life, right? And so this guy disappears into the tree line that was like 100 yards away. And all I know next was like, so we start hearing like AK-47 they run off and then mortars, right? So like we got all of this stuff happening in a matter of seconds. And I hit the deck, I hit the ground, and like I see the muzzle flashes from the tree line. And so me and the guy, we start laying rounds down there. And like I said, I was in infantry, I was an electrician. I flipped my dang rifle on burst. I'm over there. He's like, Simmons, stop there. Like you're gonna jam your rifle, or you're wasting rounds. And I'm over here like, I'm just save your ammo. I'm over here dang Rambo with like, I'm just tripping. So I put back on single shot, and I'm shooting. And then the crazy part is I was next to a haystack, and I'm like, dude, well, you gotta come over here. Like, I gotta switch with you. Like in the middle of this gunfight, like this firefight. Like I'm like, you gotta switch with me. I'm by a haystack. Like I already got haystack phobia. Like he's like, are you kidding me? So like he's like, are you kidding me? I'm like, yeah, seriously. So he switched. And like bullets are hitting the deck. And like it's just, like it's crazy. And so he was like, he's like, all right, Simmons, we got to bound back. We got to get back with the rest of the platoon. There's only like 13 of us out there that day. And so like everybody else was getting shot at too. So we're getting surrounded, right? We're getting ambushed. And so I get up and I start to do you up, you see me, I'm down, you running, you drop, you running, you drop, and like bullets are flying and I'm running, zigging, zagging. Next thing you know, it's like, RPG blast right in front of me, like knocks. All I remember was the boom, the bang, and the flash, and I'm flying backwards, and I hit the ground, and my ears are ringing, and like my heartbeat.
You start checking all your parts.
Right, I'm over here like, but I literally blacked out though. Like my heartbeat literally stopped. Like I heard my heartbeat fading and it stopped. And then, yeah, bro. So like when my heartbeat stopped, my ears, they were ringing initially and they stopped. And like what I tell people, like, when I share my story with people, I'm like, dude, this stuff, if you go back to any story I've shared about this day, it's going to be the same no matter what. Like it's so vivid to me. And I remember, so I'm here in Afghanistan, my ears were ringing, heartbeat was beating, and then it stopped. And now I'm somewhere in this other realm, bro, like sitting Indian style. Like I swear on my life, I was somewhere in a dark room sitting Indian style, like on the floor. Right. So I thought I was dead, bro. I was like, whoa. And I'm over here like, I don't know what's going on. It's dark. Like, I'm sitting Indian style. Like, this is weird. I don't sit Indian style, like only in boot camp, right? But, so, and I'm in a dark room. And next thing you know, like the noise comes back like 10 times 10, and I'm getting shook. Like my sergeant, he was on top of me. Simmons, get up, right? And I wake up. I'm like, I'm screaming, grabbing my legs, grabbing my arm, trying to make sure, like you said, everything is there. I'm over here grabbing everything, and they're like, "You okay, Simmons? You okay? Get up," and like it's all loud at this still point. Everything was like, "Hey," the noise and stuff. So it's like, like it's really crazy. And they put me in the right back behind the brick wall or the clay wall, and I'm over here shook. It's hot as hell outside, and I'm just like dehydrated. I feel like I don't know where I'm at right now. I'm discombobulated, and I was like, "Give me a cigarette." This is when I used to smoke cigarettes all the time. Give me a cigarette. Give me a cigarette. I don't care what it is. Camel Crush, Reds. I don't care. Give me a cigarette, right? And I'm smoking a cigarette, and like they took a picture at this moment in time. I was so thankful they did it, because like it's a picture of me next to the wall, and I'm just like with a smirk on my face, like this is crazy, And so we had to call in a hellfire strike, man, and like everybody ended up getting back safe. I then started being a narcoleptic, like I was falling asleep randomly. I had these. Like I was talking to my chief warrant officer, and I fell asleep right in the middle of talking to him. So like I had this like brain injury, I guess, and the TBI, and I was forgetting my rifle in the tent. I was forgetting my cover, like like I was forgetting a lot of stuff. So they were like, "Simmons, you all right, man?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm all right," And I get back stateside, get out the military, because the career planner screwed me over. I put in my re-enlistment package, and he waited a whole 6 months to tell me that my MOS was closed out, right? He said, "You can either be a cook, or you got to get out." And I was like, "I'm not waking up in the morning to cook for nobody." I was like, "I'm getting out," So that sucked. But so I got out, moved to Virginia, enrolled in college, and PTSD started. I battled with suicidal thoughts. I was battling with my anxiety. I always felt like somebody was waiting in my home, waiting under my bed, waiting in the shower curtain. Like it was always something. Like I would leave. Yeah, I would leave chairs in the middle of the walkway in my apartment when I left to, because I was like, all right, if this is gone, somebody has been in here or somebody's in here, right? And I was so OCD, like I would have to leave things a certain way. Otherwise, like the disturbed earth type theory, right? Like if it looks disturbed, then something's here, something's up, And it was one night, man, that I had literally was at the end of the road, in a sense. I had already went to the VA. I got medication. They gave me all this crap. They already told me that, I went to the OIF clinic, and they told me that if I came there, they would have to either, one, lock me in a room and take away my stuff, or they could give me some medication. What do? I said, give me the medication, right? Like, you're not locking me in anything. So
that just makes it worse.
Exactly. Like it was nothing to like, oh, we're going to make sure you're good to go. Like, no, we'll give you some medication. I'm taking this medication, sitting on a couch like a mummy, don't feel anything, can't think properly, and drop out of college. And I already threatened my professor, I'll stick my fist down your throat. Like I'm over here just wilding, bro. I was just crazy. And, I'm at parties low crawling when a damn beat drops, like I'm just like, get on the ground, like it's crazy, bro. And so, yeah, man. So like I'm at this point in my apartment, and I'm just like, all right, like I could either shoot myself or take these pills. And like, I'm over here just contemplating. I've never been in this position in my life. And I'm like, why do I feel this? But I'm trying to figure out myself. I can't do it. I feel like somebody's about to come get me. Like, it's really like paranoia time 10. Like, it's so crazy. And so like, I'm sitting there like, all right, I don't want to take these pills. So I'm just going to off myself. So I'm like in my apartment, it's evening time, and nobody's in my apartment but me. And I got the gun in my mouth. And
oh wow,
I'm over here just crying, Richard. I'm crying like I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know. And I mean, I know it's PTSD, but like I don't know why it's affecting me like this, And got the gun, I got the barrel in my mouth, and I'm just like finger on the trigger, and like literally the most craziest thing, another God moment happens again, bro. Like I'm sitting there on the floor with this gun in my mouth, and the street light shines through my window onto my nightstand where I had the Bible that my grandmother gave me. Right. I just kept it with me. It was, it was just like, it was always with me type stuff. Like it was never like I was reading it or nothing. I never read it. I just kept it with me.
Right.
Because my grandmother gave it to me. She had passed away already, so I'm looking at this Bible, bro, and I hear the same voice that I heard in Afghanistan. He says to me, like in my mind, like how you could talk to yourself in your mind and stuff. Like you can hear your voice inside of your mind. Like I hear this other voice inside of my mind again, and he says, "Who are you to take your own life when I brought you from the land of your enemy?" Like literally, he said those words, and I broke down crying. I'm just like, I broke down, put the gun by me. I'm on the floor in the fetal position, weeping, bro. I'm weeping, and I fall asleep crying, and I wake up the next day, and I feel this like weight off of me. And I'm looking at my gun, and like the pawn shop was literally like at the stop sign outside of my neighborhood. And I walked to the pawn shop and I sold my gun. And, and I'm just like, I go on this journey with God pretty much, man, like where he's dealing with my addictions and stuff. So, and that's just a whole nother realm of story, but I'm not like trying to be religious or anything, but it was just like, it was just how it happened for me. I've had brothers that committed suicide after they got back from Afghanistan. And, their story wasn't like mine. They died, they didn't, like nothing really happened. There's people that did commit suicide or try to commit suicide and failed. But like for me, that was just what happened to me, man. I can't explain it because I've seen how my life has played out over the last 10 years. I've done a lot of work with PTSD veterans and people who have experienced traumatic stuff and people who have experienced addictions and stuff like that. And that same voice would speak to me about people. And anybody that knows me, Richard, will tell you like, yeah, Allen could hear, like God speaks to him. Because I've met random people and I've told them their story, and they've broken. The grown men were crying. And it was because I told God one day, I said, God, wherever I am, I don't care if I'm drunk, high, I don't care what I'm going through, like just use me, because I want to be that person that could stop somebody from pulling the trigger if I walk their path. And literally, man, I could be drunk at a bar, at a club. I could be high when I was smoking weed. Like God would literally like intervene in my moments and be like, he'd download like a USB drive, like a person's like life, And so like, that's why I say like, I don't want to be religious, but it's just my story and how it worked out for me, so I'll pause right there,
Okay. I mean, that's some deep stuff right there. And if you've listened to our show before, I had Andrew Jones on here, also a former Marine, and he has a story pretty close to this in his life. He was about to do the same thing you were going to do, and the Lord came to him in his mind and told him to stop.
Wow.
And he actually went through it 2 times, and he stopped them both times. And now he goes around speaking to current soldiers and such right now. So it's kind of parallel each other, and you both were out there being Hollywood Marines.
Right.
You're originally an Islander, and then you kind of defected to the Hollywood area. So I don't know, I'm sure you got some hell for that as you went through your core life, because you jumped ship. They don't take that too many times.
Yeah.
That's a very, and I'm pretty sure we were in country together in Afghanistan, me, you, and Raymond at the same time, because we both met Robin Williams and Lance Armstrong during that tour as well.
Wow.
Yeah. Once you said that, so we're in the same exact time.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And we were right next door because we were in Kandahar. So.
Oh wow. That's dope, man. Yeah, I mean that's small world type stuff, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I did get a lot of crap from like, especially like I wrote a book, so I did my book of poems. I wrote like poetry was something that really helped me out. I would write and realize that like I had a lot of darkness inside of me. Like I'm writing about this mindset that I have, and it's really dark. I'm talking about like blood and and darkness and demons and different things, bro. And I was like, wow. So I started writing poetry, and it really helped me like free some areas of my life. One, it helped me see inside of myself. Like when you could say, "Oh, I'll figure it out," but we never write it out. We never know like what we're feeling. Like we just know that I'm pissed, I'm angry, I have anxiety. I feel like whooping somebody's butt. Like that's what I know, right? But I would write that down. So I wrote a book of poems in 2019, and then I got crap from a fellow veteran that I served with in Japan. He was like, "Who do you think you?" No, actually, this was somebody I was with in Afghanistan. He messages me and he's like, "Who the hell do you think you are?" Trying to show that, you're fighting your PTSD the way you are. Like, it's not easy for everybody to tell their story, and you're just out here telling your story. And I'm like, dude, why are you mad at me? Like, this is freeing me. Like, this is helping me out. Like, I've gotten to a point where I saw the benefits of sharing my story, because it's something that never would have happened if I never went in the military. And sometimes it doesn't seem real. Sometimes it seems like a movie clip, like I took out of a movie, So I have to, in order to experience like a certain side of it to where I'm winning now, I could talk about it because it has no power over me, So,
You've taken
man. Right. So I got a lot of hell from people like, oh, like there's a lot of people who are battling this stuff and they've seen worse than you. I'm like, I never go out there telling people like, oh, if you went to Afghanistan and you never got into combat action, like you're nothing. No, I don't. Like, that's not my goal. Or, hey, you went and you went 8 times and you got your leg blown off, or you went through this and that. I'm like, there's no comparison for me, bro. Like, we all go through traumatic experiences over there. It could be an IDF attack. It could be a bullet hitting your 7-ton, whatever it is. Like, it's traumatic, and I'm not comparing anything. So it's just one of those guys who were probably really not secure. He was insecure, and wasn't leaning on anybody. A lot of people don't lean on people, and I'm over here leaning on the world, people who will listen. So yeah,
and you're gonna get that, especially if you do something that's seen as a light or seen as you're moving up. There's always going to be someone out there that tries to bring you down, no matter what thing you're doing in life. Like, you're being successful now, and that's, like I said earlier, your trajectory is straight up as far as I can see. And you have an awesome book on there. Your motivational speaking, your website, and stuff's working for you. Plus, you're still going to school.
Yeah, well, I just finished in December, electrical engineering technology.
Okay. Yeah, so you're not done learning yet, so you're just going to get better. So along the way, you're going to have more people that, and I guess the youngsters call them haters these days. You'll have haters out there. They'll be out there, and they're going to hate on you no matter what you do. You could be doing the same thing they want to do, and you're just doing it. And so you're doing the right thing, though. Just doing that little Heisman move and kind of pushing them aside. And say, all right,
haters going to hate.
God bless you. I love you. See you later. And
the
best way to do that.
It's true, man. I don't know if you ever heard of Reboot. Reboot Combat Recovery. Yeah,
so we have it here.
Okay, cool. So like I was a part of that. I met a guy, a Marine, Matt Thomas. I was leaving the gym, going to Chick-fil-A before I went to the gas station. The Lord was speaking to me about the Chick-fil-A sandwich. So
Jesus checking.
Jesus checking in. Jesus checking in and stuff. So I was like, I'm gonna go get this chicken sandwich and then I'll go get the gas. And I'm going up the hill and my car stops. Like, I ran out of gas. Like, I thought I had like another mile or two, like I ran out of gas and I'm sitting right there, like probably like, half a mile from Chick-fil-A in a sense. And this guy, this white guy, I'm a black guy. This white guy, he's walking down the hill, like peeping at me. And I'm just like, oh crap, here we go. Like, I didn't know what to expect, right? He's just like, I was like, bro, this is my car. Like, I tried to steal his car. That's what I was thinking in my mind based on like how things were going and stuff, and where I'm from too. But he's looking at me, and on his side, I'll fast forward from what he was thinking. He was like, oh man, there's a black guy down there, like, like, what is he thinking about me? I'm just coming to check it. I'm coming to check on him and stuff, right? So he comes over there. He's like, hey, man, I saw your Marine Corps sticker on the back of your car. He was like, you're a Marine? I was like, yes, sir. He's like, oh, Semper Fi, brother. He's like, I'm Matt. I'm like, oh, Semper Fi. So we start, talking. And he's like, I'm going to help you push this car. I was like, well, shoot. All right, let's go. So we start pushing the car up the hill. And then
uphill.
Another guy, uphill, bro. And another guy comes in. He's like, I got you guys. I'm going to help. Like, so there's like two other guys came in over there and helped us push it up, right? So it was really awesome as far as like brotherhood in a sense. And he's like, man, so what were you doing? I was like, man, I was going to Chick-fil-A and I was going to get some gas. He's like, man, I was going to Chick-fil-A too. And he's like, so how about this? He's like, we can go to Chick-fil-A and then I'll take you to the gas station. We could go get a fuel can and then we could put some gas in it. And then I'll bring you back here to fill up your, put gas in your tank. I was like, for real? He was like, yeah. So like, I'm just like, all right, cool. So we go to the Chick-fil-A, man, and we're sitting there and we have this, I'm like looking at my twin, but a fair-skinned twin, like this guy is just like me. Like he's been through traumatic stuff. He battled with depression and suicide. He's married, newly married, and he's trying to find his place with God, and his story is very awesome in itself, man. And so we connected. And he was like, man, I'm actually planning to start this thing called Reboot, man, and it would be great to have you with me, and I was like, sure. I knew nothing about it, but like he introduced me to John Dale, and John, he was like the regional guy over there. And, we started that program and it was life-changing. And we had a lot of people that went through it and it was life-changing. My wife went through it with me. She was able to see, so she wasn't with me when I was in the Corps. She got to see like why I was the way I was,
Right.
From other people's stories. So like we did that. I started another one and stuff with him. So Reboot was really dope to go through the level of spiritual trauma, soul wounds and stuff like that. But it was also amazing to meet Matt, who was a white guy and I'm a black guy in this current climate of America. And for us to have this brotherhood, not only in the Corps, but in Christ and as married men. So it was just inspiring to see that, man. So I just wanted anybody out there who, you don't have to be a Christian or anything. You don't have to be black, white. You could be whatever you are. And you don't have to be a Marine. Of course, you could be a soldier, but if you want. But man, if you're out there struggling and battling with PTSD, I just want you all to go out there and find somebody that you can lean on. Just have somebody you can lean on and talk to, and it'll get you through it. Don't pull the trigger. Find somebody. So, yeah.
Don't make a permanent solution to a temporary problem. And that's
exactly.
I try to tell that to people. Permanent solutions aren't going to help you or anyone else. You may think that's awesome, but at that point, it might be. It might be the only thing you can think of. But there's someone out there that cares about you, and don't give in to the enemy within. There's all kinds of sayings out there. There's all kinds of shirts. But it comes down to like you or I being here for each other or being here for our brothers and sisters that we served with to make sure that they get over the finish line as well. And that's what's helping a lot of others throughout our country right now. And seeing like that man, Matt, helping you with the gas and getting you to the Jesus chicken. I mean, I can't eat Jesus chicken. It's cooked in peanut oil and I'm allergic. So I get to try.
Oh man, you got to pray over that thing, brother.
So I take my wife there, let her have her Jesus chick. I get a brownie.
You get a brownie. That sucks.
Or a lemon. But it's those little things like him stopping with you to show you that everyone is different. Everyone is different. Your mindset's different. And meeting people like that help us to, as veterans, as humans, to see that it's not all bad out here. The media will make you feel like the world's ending. And
exactly.
A lot of people right now, they sink into that, they pigeonhole into that, and you can't do that. And you got to see the light, and that's what helps people out.
That's the truth, brother. That's the truth. That is the truth,
So,
man.
If someone wants to book you, Allen, how would they get in touch with you to book you to come speak to them or even do a virtual speaking with them?
Well, first, you could go to Allen, ALLEN, LeviSimmons.com. That's my website. You can go on Instagram, reach out to me there at AllenLeviSimmons.com. Or not .com, but at AllenLeviSimmons on Instagram. Or LinkedIn, Allen. I'm everywhere, Allen, ALLEN, Levi, LEVI, Simmons. You can spell that. Anywhere you can look that up and you'll find me. The Purpose Pod on YouTube is my podcast. I interview professionals and, I go over their purpose and their story. I'm definitely going to have you on there, Richard.
Awesome.
But yeah, that's where I'm at.
Awesome. And this was great catching up to you. I'm sure we can talk for hours because I think we've seen a lot of the same things. Even though you had to be a Semper Fi feller, I mean, right. I was a real soul. I was a real, yeah. You know how it is.
A soldier.
A soldier. We chewed the same dirt in Kandahar. We chewed the same dirt in Iraq. Yeah. And we can show just between the two of us, there's a way out. Yeah, right. It doesn't. I mean, I know a lot of people, they lose that adrenaline high. You lose that high when you got to find a way to get that high again. And I think you have found it with your purpose. Yep. Serving your purpose now to help others and get them over that hump. I do it by still training soldiers so that they can come home. And now I do this podcast so I can also get other people's voices out there so their stories are heard and that brings joy to people. And that's what it's all about.
Exactly. And I'm glad you started your podcast, and it's been a great pleasure to be on here.
And like I said, I'm glad you're on. I'm probably going to have you on again to continue your story because I was laughing a lot during it because I can see myself on patrol going through the same stuff. So it's pretty funny. And
it's all good.
At the same time, it's like a whirlwind of stuff going through, but it's pretty awesome. Right. I appreciate you taking your time and both of us having patience to get this thing knocked out. It took us a few attempts.
Right.
But we knocked her out, and I look forward to hearing from you, and I'll definitely go on your show. Just send me a calendar invite.
All right, brother. I appreciate it.
All right. You have a good day out there. Stay safe.
All right. You too. Bye.
All right, bye.
Wow, that was great chatting with Allen Simmons about his journey into the service, the emotions he had for entering his trials and triumphs on the battlefields of Iraq and Afghanistan, and then the ultimate fight in his own battle with PTSD. He is an amazing young veteran who will be doing great things in the future. Thanks for being on, and I can't wait to have you back on this show. So you know how we do this. Thanks for taking some of your time to spend with us on the Misfit Nation. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and share the link as much as possible. We appreciate you. As always, till next time, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling because we are the Misfit Nation.